So, will NASA be able to maintain the public appreciation of Artemis II? Or will we just forget about this incredible accomplishment during the next major news cycle? How can we keep humanity looking up and being excited about going to other worlds? Let's chat about where we are and where we're going. Buckle up. Project Tomorrow, Orbit 18, Episode 12 is now departing.
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
Now, I don't know about you, but I was hyper inspired by Artemis II. It was super cool to see humans going back to the moon in my lifetime. It was also really cool to see everyone I knew around me, space geek or not, talking about it. I can't remember the last time people were talking this much about space. Maybe SpaceX demonstration mission 2, but like, I don't know, this was just a different level. To the point where I felt bad for him, but Jared lost his voice last week. Because he was talking to so many people. What an amazing reason to lose your voice. With Artemis II inspiring so many people, how do we keep that inspiration going? Like, are we just going to lose it in the next news cycle? Can we keep it going? I'll turn it over to our panel. Actually, why don't we start with Space Mike, or Space Flight Enthusiast. Space Mike, what do you think? How do we keep this inspiration going for everyone?
I certainly hope that we can. I mean, there's a very strong likelihood that it will get forgotten about very quickly, but I feel like you're right. This is the first time in a long time that we have had any sort of this much of a public response. And seeing the things that have gone viral, seeing the moments that have really struck a nerve with people, something that, like, there's been so many incredible photos that are inspiring people, but what I've been inspired by the most, hi, by the way, is that the reactions of some, especially kids, younger kids, who are fully decked out in astronaut costumes. Astronaut costumes are going to make a comeback this Halloween for sure. Just, looking the way that we've looked for so many years and just so excited about the whole thing. And this was just the Apollo 8 mission. We have so many other cool missions coming up. This was just the Apollo 8 one, and it's really struck a chord with people. So I think it will kind of get skipped in a lot of the news cycle stuff, and NASA won't get as much of let's say, a mainstream media presence. But again, we have so many cool missions coming up that I feel like these seeds have been planted, and we're in a new era now. Things are different. Something has changed in the spaceflight community in general, and I welcome it.
How about you, Jared? Do you think something has changed? No, great. It was great. Jared, how about you? Do you think something's changed in the spaceflight community? Or even outside the spaceflight community?
Well, I can tell you one thing. A lot more people were aware of the fact that NASA even existed, right? So, I mean, I hate to admit it, but it was something where you would talk about a NASA mission that was happening, and people would go, "I didn't even know NASA was still a thing." I thought
they shut down when the space shuttle retired. What?
Yeah, I thought they were done when the shuttle was done, and now I thought that the companies were doing everything at this point. And it's like, no, they're contracted through NASA, like that they're still getting the money from NASA to do that. So this was sort of a very big moment, almost like a watershed moment for people outside of spaceflight, because of just how much attention was given to this mission. There was just so much that was thrown this mission's way, and I feel, and it was just absolutely astonishing to see. At my job, where I work on a space shuttle at the Columbia Memorial Space Center, we had our busiest day ever for splashdown. which we were not expecting that. We had a 4-figure attendance on that day. Like over 1,000 people showed up just to watch Splashdown. Our main area overflowed. All 3 of our overflow areas overflowed, and now we're talking about, if we do the same stuff for Artemis III for coverage of it, maybe we should move outside so that way we can accommodate a nearly unlimited number of people, just because like we pushed our building to the limit of what it could possibly do.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
We were gonna break the HVAC and need a bigger museum. So yeah, it was it was something else. And I think there's a secret to it, but I'll talk about that a little bit later, when we kind of get to what we think kind of helped with that. So I'll talk about what I think the secret sauce for Artemis II was.
No, I know I have an echo. I'm working on it, but Jared, let's not wait. Like, what's the secret sauce?
Okay, well, the secret sauce for Artemis II was the fact that we all came along with that crew. At no point did NASA or anyone on the crew try to prevent you from getting the experience of what it was like. I don't know if anybody knows this, but you were able to just basically pull up the cameras on Orion and watch them. Like, and it wasn't just like, oh, they were doing it with the GoPros on the solar arrays. No, they would switch to the interior cameras, and you'd just see the 4 astronauts mulling about. You'd be right there with Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy. You'd just be hanging out with them. That's kind of how I felt throughout the mission. It's like, hey, I'm hanging out. Like, it's me and 4 new friends on the way to the moon. And NASA, I think, did a fantastic job of providing that like overall perspective of this is what it's like to return to the moon, and this is what they're experiencing. NASA really allowed the astronauts to basically be themselves. And to me, a critical difference was that unlike Apollo, we didn't have to wait for the film to come home and develop. Like, we weren't listening in on a radio broadcast the entire time. We were seeing it. We were witnessing it. It wasn't an intangible sound effects series that we had to work with. We weren't listening to a radio play. We were witnessing it itself, and that resonated with so many people. So I can't, my family reacting while we were all gathered together watching Loss of Signal as they went behind the moon live. That's something I'm going to remember for a really long time. It was great.
I think that especially those 4 people in particular, and they're superstars, and their relatability, I think, really helped to inspire people and connect with something for this mission. So I was very surprised by that.
I think how about you? The fantasism, the fascination with it goes with what's available at the time. So, Jared, I'm not sure the people in 1968 were any less captivated by, Jim Lovell and his crew, reading a verse from the Bible and sending back pictures after the fact. But now we have the instant gratification mentality, so we need that in order to stay engaged.
Yes. And NASA delivered on that. That's the thing. NASA used what they had in 1968. NASA used what they had in 2026.
Sure. That's it's in order to stay in the news cycle. I think we need to be louder than the legit terrible news that's constantly bombarding us in every respect. Keep talking about it. Keep introducing new findings, or keep going back and touching on new discoveries from all of the stuff that we saw live. There was one moment when they were coming back from, I'm not sure if they'd come back from or were about to go into blackout, but there was the Capcom was asking them about impact flashes and the fact that they saw impact flashes, and she looks over to the science room and she's like just flabbergasted, like, what is that? Let's talk about that. But you know, everybody else having this in their algorithm where this is the news that they see, and it speaks up louder and more frequently than the travesties and devastation, I think, is probably the key to making this last a little bit longer.
Ryan, how about you? By the way, apparently, if I still have echo, we're just in Space Church right now, and I'm at the pulpit, and this is a very echoey room. Ryan, how about you? What do you think? Do you think we'll be able to maintain this momentum? Do you agree with what everyone else has said?
Yeah, 100%. In addition to the crew just being an excellent crew, like even if NASA tried even harder, I don't think they could have come up with a better crew out of the current astronaut corps. I mean, the crew are just incredible, and I think we all agree on that. But the extra special, super duper magical part of this mission is the fact that we were all brought along for the ride as the 5th crew member on Artemis II. We were there inside the capsule, live inside the capsule with the 4 other crew members. Maybe I should say the 6th crew member, because of course Rise, the 0G indicator, is the 5th crew member. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? You know, the fact that we were brought along and given such transparent access to everything apart from the private medical and family conferences. Like, we were given access to everything apart from, you know, not violating their medical privacy, which I think is, you know, about as far as you can go in the modern age. I don't think we could have gotten any more transparent with, you know, we had live comms loops, we had live views outside and inside the spacecraft. And although we've had live comms and external views from the International Space Station for over a decade now, the fact that we were actually allowed inside the spacecraft and experience this mission with the astronauts was, we've never had that before in terms of a live, you know, continuous broadcast. There's been, you know, on the ISS, they only let us inside when it's like a public affairs event, or they're doing, you know, something like a docking or an arrival or departure or something like that. With Artemis II, we're allowed inside just like they're eating their lunch, they're doing some science, they're just floating around the capsule, you know, like we were allowed inside just for the mundane data. We were literally allowed to watch them work. And although, you know, when you put it like that, it sounds a little creepy, but it was so inspiring and it was so magical. And I really want NASA, however realistic this is, I really want NASA to do that for the International Space Station too. You know, like, why can't they just allocate some certain hours? They probably need to get a bunch of approval from all of the astronauts on the ISS. But, you know, why don't you just set out a certain, you know, block of the day which we're allowed on board the International Space Station and watch them working in Unity or Destiny or Kibo or any of the modules, right? That would be so cool. And it could continue this momentum.
I work at it. I work near an airport, and I see planes passing by all day, commercial planes. And it's fascinating to watch planes because I love planes, but every once in a while, through those glossy windows, I catch a glimpse of somebody's face, and it doesn't occur to me until I see that there's a story behind that person and why they're on that plane. So until we can get access to the people, like, maybe that's the key, is access to the people to see what they're doing. And like, I've never really had a whole lot of interest in ISS, because it's just a bunch of weird blocks from the outside. You can't really tell what's going on the inside. But when they do something on the inside, it's fascinating.
Huh, that's very interesting. It's almost like people are neat, and people are neat in the sense, definitely not neat in the sense of not messy, but like people are interesting. Who would have thunk? You know, this is kind of bringing me back to the concept of the Space Up San Diego, the very famous Space Up San Diego talk of space is boring, and
Space
just
is boring.
How the sanitization of space and the loss of storytelling in spaceflight really helped make it feel so boring and dragged out, like Ben Stein is narrating all of it. You know, it's just
Next slide.
Gosh.
Well,
Yeah, next
I gotta
slide,
be,
please.
I gotta be perfectly honest. As a mechanical engineer for most, if not all, of my life, like I've never really. My first fascination was with mechanical things. When I was 4, I wanted to be a garbage truck, not the garbage man, the garbage truck. So
There still might be
like
a future.
yeah, it took me really. It wasn't until really late in life that I started finding that the people are the reason these things go. So being able to find people that you can relate to, and now they're like, I connect to the Apollo missions not because the Saturn V was fascinating, but because Neil Armstrong almost died on the lunar landing training vehicle, or because Gene Cernan says in a video that you can't take away the fact that his footprints were the last on the moon. Like those kinds of stories, the people stories, is what I latch onto now, and being able to find and identify those in modern day and be able to communicate them and give access, low barrier access to people to these stories is I think the key to longevity.
I don't know about you guys, but I think my favorite part of the Apollo program has been finding a lot of the things that were cut or somewhat hidden a little bit, or the bloopers, as you might call it, of them stumbling around and cursing and struggling with stuff and having very human problems and very relatable human reactions to what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
That's been my favorite. The stuff that they kind of censored and didn't want to show the public, like that's my favorite moments, is them being real.
My two
the
favorite
fact that there was a centerfold on their little wrist procedure manual thing. Somebody snuck that in just to give them a joke, and you can hear them trip up over it like real time. It's amazing.
And that reminds me of my two favorite Apollo stories, which was the Apollo 10 poop incident, when somebody was using the can on Apollo and it didn't quite seal the bag correctly, and then it's floating around inside. And the best part is everyone is going, it's not me. Well, it's not me. It's not me. Well, somebody please take care of it. And then my favorite line that stops it all is John Young just going, God Almighty. And then another one is from Apollo 16 with John Young, where he was he's on Maine on radio, and he's talking about how he's pissed off about having to eat so much citrus, and he's like, Charlie, I got the farts again. You know, I haven't eaten this much damn citrus in this long time, and I'm not going to do that again for another long time. So this is giving me gas, and I'm farting up a storm in this module. You know, so. And then they're like,
this is Houston.
Hey.
We have a hot mic.
Yeah, they did. And then John Young, without missing a beat, he doesn't go, oh, sorry, or anything like that. He goes, well, how long have we had that? Like those are the great moments. And we had a lot of those kinds of moments during Artemis II as well. Maybe not as profane, but there was definitely some very entertaining moments, accidentally entertaining moments, to say the least.
Since Artemis III will not have humans on board, right? Well, it won't have humans on board. It's automated docking, right? Will Artemis III? Actually, this is forgive my ignorance. Artemis have?
It's supposed to, because one of the primary objectives is doing some sort of EVA spacewalk and testing out the Axiom spacesuits. That's like a whole rationale, is doing that in low Earth orbit instead of for the first time on the lunar surface.
Okay, so then maybe if we play, like if we give people access to the astronauts directly, that maintains this momentum. Is the momentum not necessarily Artemis II, but like the access that we had to the astronauts? Do you think, like those human moments?
I feel like I feel like I'm going to skip ahead and kind of talk about my favorite moment here. But it was also because to many people it was the most impactful moment for them, and it was when they named the crater after Reed Wiseman's late wife, and that was, even now, still feel a very touching feeling about the crew doing that without letting Reed know, and then telling Reed in front of him as they were calling it down. So like that was just a deep moment that we all related to on that one. So yeah, that was great. Also the Nutella as well floating away. You know, the media grabbed onto that one, and everybody kind of stuck with that. So I wonder how Nutella sales are going to go over the next 6 months. We'll have to see how that goes. I mean, I already knew Nutella was good. I didn't know it was good enough to the moon and back, but now we know it's good enough to the moon and back.
Oh man, I hope they go over the top with this and have a new motto and everything. Nutella, the favored snack of astronauts.
You couldn't buy better publicity.
Right?
But I mean, like when they had two versions of Outlook.
Oh my God!
Same, boo, same.
Neither of them are working.
Right. That's all of us.
Real problems. All of us have had to deal with that, haven't we? Or at least a large chunk of the world population. Jeez.
And you can
What a generational fumble by Microsoft as well. Oh my gosh.
You can throw in the toilet problems as well, because they were, they bring everything back down to earth. It just, humbles everyone a little bit. We now have Christina Cook, the space plumber. I mean, all of these, kind of relatable moments, just make the mission more relatable, for lack of a better word. It makes it more tangible, more like it's a thing that anyone can do.
I mean, at least it didn't ask for an auth code that was sent to their phone stuffed in a locker left on Earth.
I cannot do two device authentication right now.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't send that email, Dave.
Oh,
Sorry, so
The
I
attachment
continue.
is too large, Dave.
This is a fun task. I'm trying to host a show while troubleshooting with Travis remotely, while listening to you guys. It's a lot. And I know my audio sounds terrible. It's just we'll say this is just a comms issue from Earth to Earth. I can't even get Earth to Earth comms going, and I got Earth to Moon comms going correctly. So just shows even the best of us. You'll have.
Have you tried routing it through Outlook, Jamie?
or is Outlook open? If so, maybe close it.
Yeah. No, I may leave the session and come back in, but they're not hearing this on the audio board, which is the really strange thing. And I'm not routed to the audio board twice, and I changed my routes twice, so I'm starting to lose my mind here. I have no idea. But keep the conversation going.
We got a command from Mission Control asking for you to check the toilet at your place.
I'll rotate my microphone towards the sun and see if we can warm the valve. How about that?
There you go. That'll do.
Did you guys have a least favorite? So obviously we've talked about the favorite moments of Artemis. Did you guys have a least favorite moment of Artemis II?
Yeah.
Go ahead. There was, I thought it was, I might steal this, so I want you to go ahead first, but I thought it was hilarious and also so cringy when they had a call with the president, and they all just kind of stood in an awkward silence and were kind of spacing out a little bit, and there was like a good solid awkward silence afterwards, and then kind of comms check, and you still hear us just.
Hey guys, does anybody want to play with me?
I felt so bad for them, and yet it was also a very relatable moment. So.
Most awkward 90 seconds ever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, even in deep space, the cringe is real at times. So yeah. That's a bummer. What a bummer.
We're doing pretty good. Hang on, we're doing pretty good cringe on this show too. Like for the record, we've got those awkward cuts. We've got the awkward audio going on. Like, hey, we can do cringe.
Hey, you and Travis are both multitasking. It's permissible.
Yeah. Do you think that he got? I was about to say before those comments. Do you think he got the Frank Borman Nixon treatment with that, or it was just, hey, cut it short? Like,
just talking about the momentum of this, the JTTV in chat did say my entire office was talking about it, and I didn't even prompt them. Which comes to a moment of like, right, exactly. And is that how everyone else felt too? Of like, oh my gosh, like,
yes,
everyone's talking about this, and I don't even have to force you to like want to like space.
Yeah.
My workplace is filled with a bunch of space nerds because they all come from space, but I didn't ask for or even think to put it on the big giant screen so that everybody could watch in the common areas. And I certainly came across it more in real life out in the world than any other space mission previously.
I think that
So that was
also
nice.
kind of
That was
plays
nice
a
to
little
see.
bit. I think it plays a little bit into what I was saying. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I think it was Jami who said that, talking to people like on a plane and like nobody knows this thing is happening. And I said, well, maybe if we wait until after launch and the big flashy thing actually happens, then maybe we'll get the world's attention. And I think that has well and truly happened. There wasn't a lot of people talking about it before launch. Launch happened maybe a few days later, but as soon as they started getting out to the moon, and those images were getting downlinked, and they were doing the live events over NASA TV back to the ground. I mean, the momentum started picking up on social media, and I think it all culminated in splashdown because I haven't seen that much engagement with a NASA mission, the splashdown portion specifically, in a very, very long time. Maybe not at all in my lifetime, because the amount of people that I would never, ever assume have any interest in space that I follow on social media, like geeking out over this stuff, is just crazy. On X, I follow like TV critics and political commentators and other TV people that have nothing to do with space, have never spoken about space before ever on social media, and their timelines is full of the splashdown coverage, and it's amazing because it's almost like this snowball which kept building and building and building and building and building after launch, ramping up until splashdown, and it's a bit of a shame that the mission is over, but hopefully that snowball will keep going and not be pointed towards the sun to thaw out.
Well, here's a question I would like to ask everybody. Do we think that we can have even half that much momentum for the next and future crews that are going to the International Space Station and just doing stuff on Dragon? Or is this only going to be able to see and expect this for lunar missions? Like, do we need to prepare people to be disappointed for Artemis III when, they're just testing out stuff in low Earth orbit? Oh, okay, let me know when they're landing on the moon. Next year, I'm not looking forward to that conversation.
So I don't know that you can keep people entertained with the small incremental steps that are planned, similar to what they did in the Apollo era. Famously, in the movie Apollo 13, their television broadcast just prior to stirring the tanks, and their accident was not broadcast live because people lost interest. So when it becomes routine and they're just doing another test, like, who cares? So it's going to have to be something that's big enough to be able to garner that kind of attention. Either the risk is high or it's somebody that people can relate to. And I think that goes to being able to identify the crew early on and get people invested in who they are and have access to them so that they get emotionally invested in, so-and-so is going to space. We had the first female astronaut going around the moon. Like, that's a big deal. I've
even seen people petitioning to, let this crew fly again and do one of the lunar landing missions, petitioning to have them be the crew for Artemis 4 or 5. And just hearing that from regular folks who haven't been interested in this all this time.
So that's an
there might
interesting
be something
point.
to that.
Was it the people? Was it not just NASA? Was it the crew? Was it like the approachability of the crew? Was it just we just love them as people?
How they gel with each other, how they work with each other. That's a big deal. It's like sports, like you the sports ball teams. Like you get a team together and they work well together, and you root for them. You don't root for one person individually. You root for them and their compatriots because of how they work together. You can't have Jordan without Pippen. Like,
Absolutely.
I think it would be fun to. I think it'd be fun to see the Artemis crew land on the moon as well. I think that would be great. I would. I just feel like we would be cheering them on, right? Like I feel like they're part of Team Humanity now, and like we'd be like, yeah, you don't just fly around the moon, you get to land on the moon. I think that'd be a huge win for NASA. Maybe not like Artemis 4 or 5, but somewhere in the Artemis program after we like started to establish, like bring them back and be like, hey, this is what you got people excited about. I think
do a reunion.
We have our first.
Sucks now to be any other astronaut in the Corps.
That'd be so hilarious. We have our first moon base module, and the Artemis II crew gets to land, and the first thing Christina Croak says is, "I heard you need a plumber."
So now that we've had this moment, I don't know about you guys, but it's really great for me to be alive and not be stuck in low Earth orbit in my lifetime, right? Like we are going back to the moon. We are going out and exploring the solar system in my lifetime, which I'm super happy about. Is this the promise of Apollo coming to life? Right? Is this because the Apollo program wasn't going to just be flags and footprints? They had big plans and ambitions above and beyond just going there a few times. In fact, they even built more vehicles that never flew. Are we going to start seeing the promise of Apollo through Artemis, do you think?
Possibly, yes, it was until the budget numbers came out for next year.
Yes.
Well, hang on. You're talking about the White House budget numbers?
Yes.
White House doesn't have any say in the budget. So like, let's use last cycle as an example. They did the exact same thing they did the same thing last cycle, and none of that went through, right? Like NASA got their money anyhow. Like the White House does not control the purse.
You still lost 4,000 jobs in that cycle because the federal government just went, you know what? Who cares? No rules. Just right. Get out. That's kind of how it went. Unfortunately. And then the budget, and then Congress came in and set the budget as to what they wanted, basically exercised their right to the purse and reset it. But those jobs didn't come back. And I mean, a lot of programs suffered from that.
You're not wrong, certainly. I just wonder. I wonder if it will be the same this go around, or if because again, the White House doesn't control the purse, so like they can say we want a lower budget, but
saying the White House doesn't control it is technically true, but they do have influence over it.
Yeah, not sure for how much longer though. We'll see. We'll see.
Sure. But if the White House was all gung ho and this is what we want to get done, then and you've got the people in the legislative branch that are actually doing their jobs and actually following along with the missions of the administration, there could be major influence in getting a bigger budget for NASA in order to accomplish these major things. But that's not actually the will of the administration.
Hang on. Going backwards a step, Joshua C135 in the chat room said, I know the Orioles and Mets both showed splashdown on the big screen during the game. Oh my God. So
the Dodgers did
lots
too.
Of posts.
So
that's incredible.
And there was a women's softball team that was playing during launch, and they stopped and like watched the launch in Florida because it was in the air.
Can you imagine?
That is pretty awesome.
Tons of restaurants and sports bars and stuff that had it up on the TV, just playing in the background and quietly, not competing with anything else, but it was up. My best still keep track.
My best friend went to like a wing sports bar kind of place, and he sent me a photo. Every single TV in it was the Artemis II splashdown. So and
Artemis 4 is going to be crazy.
So cool. Like I didn't realize I was going to go to like a wings place and be able to watch people come back from the moon. Like, what a time to be alive. We're coming back from the moon, and I got me my wings.
I think let's finish on this. It says, this is from JockCop4205. It says, I don't think Artemis 3 will have the same level of engagement as 2. Low Earth orbit docking just doesn't grab regular people like a moon mission. And I don't know, based on this conversation, is it the mission, or is it the people, or both?
I think it's both.
It
But I
has
mean,
it has to be both, because the reason that we fall in love with these people is because they are people conducting a mission. They are working together to create a beautiful thing, which was the Artemis II mission. Now, is the general public more attracted to the mission they are working towards, or the people who are working towards the mission? It's the latter, but the people are still working towards a mission, and it has to be a combination of the two things at the same time. And on that point specifically, I don't know if Artemis 3 can garner that much attention, or physically the crew won't have enough time to bond in the same way that the Artemis 2 crew bonded, because they haven't been selected yet, and the Artemis 2 crew was selected 3 years before launch. Now, good or bad, 3 years is a lot of bonding time compared to under 12 months. So that could have something to play in it as well.
And it's partially the vehicle, it's partially the stakes. Like this is an around the moon mission like they did in Apollo 8. We haven't done that in how many years? It's also the vehicle. Like SpaceX launches every other day. Do we care? No, not most of the time. No, unless what's on it is something important. If it's Starlink, nobody cares. Fire is always awesome, but it gets to be routine. But if it's something that is not normally flown, then that's a little more rare, a little bigger of a deal. The drama that was made prior to launch with the problems they had with the GSE and fueling and stuff like that, all of that leads to this like tantalizing risk that you want to see. You're voting for, you're rooting for the people that are on board and the people that are making it happen. You're like, can they do it? Can they do it? All of that leads to interest, and I wouldn't in the slightest suggest that we manufacture any of that, because people can see right through it. But all of that lends to the interest that people have on whether or not this is actually going to go right.
I feel like Artemis 3 will be our Apollo 9 moment, right? A lot of the world really cared and were inspired by Apollo 8. How many people know what Apollo 9 did?
Who was on Apollo 9?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm not even sure I know off the top of my head. It was a low Earth orbit mission, basically doing what Artemis 3 is doing, like testing, docking stuff, right? So like this is our Apollo 9 moment. That's a necessity before Artemis 4, which will be our Apollo 11 moment.
There's a big difference between Apollo 9 and Artemis 3 as well, and that's the fact that Apollo 8 took place in December of 1972, and then Apollo 11 took place in July of 1969, and in that 6-month period, they flew Apollo 9 and Apollo 10. We are going to be waiting. That's what I said, December 68.
72. You said 72.
Oh, I meant 68. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? It was December to July, right? That was a 6-month period, and they conducted 4 missions. We're going to be waiting a year between Apollo 8 and Apollo 9. That's not going to help.
No, that's true. That's true. We need to compress these timelines. Absolutely.
And we're not even doing Apollo 10. We're skipping right to Apollo 11.
I think it's okay that all of the missions don't get the same attention, so long as we're not like losing funding in between and losing momentum and losing the execution of the missions and the science and understanding that we get from them. If the public doesn't have interest in every mission, I think that's okay, so long as we can still execute them and get to the next.
Yeah, I bet the tricky thing is, and maybe we should do a show about this, is the world was awestruck by Apollo 11, right? Like we captured the consciousness of humanity on Apollo 11. And then by Apollo 12, they stopped caring. Like it wasn't even Apollo 13. Like it was a steep cliff that it fell down. And by Apollo 13, the news stations weren't even covering it. From 11, 12, and the only reason they started covering 13 is when something went wrong. So like, I don't know, if we want to make this not flags and footprints, we're going to have to find some way to engage. And I think NASA's ignition event really kind of showcased some of the ideas as to how to maintain that. And I hope they can execute on that. You need to bring us along and make it something that we can be involved with, you know? And I think they're doing better now. I think I really
But
do.
it's the size of the steps. It has to be significantly different from the previous in order to be able to keep attention. Like going around the moon, okay, great. But if you go around the moon again or go in orbit again, we've already seen orbit, but who cares? Landing on the moon, okay, I've never seen that, but then we land on the moon the second time. What is different about that second landing mission from the first that would garner my interest? Why do I care?
So that's where we go to Artemis 3 and beyond, which is the next segment. I think that's a really great transition. But before we get there, I would like to hand the baton off to Ryan and see if he can stump us with some trivia, break up the show a little bit, and go into some crazy questions that he's got. I'm not sure I agree with him using Imperial. It feels dirty. It feels dirty, Ryan using freedom units as opposed to metric units. Like, these are my units. No. You can't use my units, Ryan.
It feels good. It feels like the world is healing.
These units are directly quoted from Artemis II flight director Rick Hentfling, and I could have used worse units because during the press conferences before splashdown, they were using feet per second and nautical miles, but for whatever reason, they didn't come fully to their senses, because if they did, they would have said kilometers and meters per second, but they gave us miles per hour and miles, which is, something which is a little bit more accessible. But according to flight director Rick Hentfling, what was Integrity's total distance traveled through Artemis II? Was it 611,565 miles, 700,237 miles, 743,045 miles, or 695,165 miles?
So I know Zach is in the audience from the Launchpad Network, and I know that he's cheating because he admitted in Discord that he's going to cheat. So I'm whatever Zach votes for. Zach, let me know what you're voting for. Sneak me the answer somehow, because I'm not allowed to cheat.
Okay. I am going to say that chat room has decisively gone with D, 695165. So I will start with Jamie. What are you going to say?
I'm going to go with the chat room, 695165, because they're cheating and I think they've got the right answer.
Okay, Jared?
I'm going with the chat room as well. Thanks for cheating on our behalf.
Duta?
I'm also going with the chat room.
Okay. Mike, what are you going to say?
Despite the allegations, I trust the chat room. And if we're all wrong, then at least we'll all be wrong together. I'm going with D.
I think it's because of the allegations you trust the chat room, Mike.
Well, the brilliant thing is, very interestingly, everybody has gone with the same answer. And when that has happened in the past, that's usually gone really well for everybody. Not this time, because everybody is wrong. The correct answer is B.
Oh no! And the worst part is Zach DM'd me the answer. Zach DM'd me the answer, and I didn't get to it until too late. So, all right, here's the deal. Zach, you and I, right here, we're pairing up. For the next trivia question, as soon as you get it, cheat and DM me the answer. It's going to be great. Because I'm not allowed to look it up, and you're not supposed to look it up, but there's nothing preventing you from looking it up and then feeding me the answer. Now, the question is it going to feed me the right answer or the wrong answer? But he fed me the right answer before, so...
That's true.
Well done, Zach. Oh, by the way, Zach is on our board, and you said it was 700,237?
No, it was the 700,000 answer.
Yeah, 700. Well, what were the? I don't remember. 700,237.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, so Zach, it's a lot of things that sound the same. Got that right, technically speaking. Even though the chat got it wrong, he got it right. So I feel like we should give him that point. All right, moving along. Also, freedom units. I'm surprised you didn't convert them. I'm surprised you didn't convert them. Maybe a little bit disappointed.
None of us would have had any understanding of what that is.
It's so weird.
Still to this day, I get dimensions for something in millimeters, and I have to convert it to inches in order to be able to have any fathomable idea what size that is.
I mentally converted, so I can do metric with regards to distances. So I'm pretty good on centimeters, millimeters, meters, all that fun jazz. Where I break is temperatures. I cannot do Celsius
Oh yeah.
at all, and it that's one where I actually disagree with metric. It's like, oh well, it's zero is freezing. It's like, cool. At what pressure? Like that's not how freezing works, guys. So yeah, it doesn't make. And then it's like a single decimal point is so much of a variance. I prefer
Hmm.
Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit makes way more sense. Let's talk about, we were starting to get into this before we did the trivia stuff, but let's talk about Artemis 3 and beyond. Artemis 2, arguably wildly successful. It captured the imagination of everyone. As we've kind of mentioned, moving forward into Artemis 3, uh, we might be delaying here. Well, maybe. So we're supposed to launch Artemis 3 in 2027, but we are beholden to either Blue Origin or SpaceX. We need their human landing, we need their landing service systems to be able to test it in low Earth orbit. Do we think either one of them can actually do this and be ready by 2027? Mike, I'll throw it to you.
I mean, I certainly hope so. There's a lot of things we could talk about that isn't looking very likely, but at the same, like, there's pros and cons. There are things that are being worked on and things that don't seem they're being worked on at all. But at the same time, like, they're pushing this mandate really hard, and Jared Isaacman has said repeatedly that they're working with all of their contractors for every single part of the components of Artemis, including SpaceX and Blue Origin and Axiom, about their readiness in order to do the goals that they even want to do with Artemis 3. I mean, the plan for Artemis 3 has just changed recently, so I believe that they are pushing as hard as they possibly can to make that happen. And NASA themselves have said that they would achieve their goals with at least one of those landers. They would prefer both, to be able to have both in low Earth orbit and test out docking operations and hopefully some internal operations with those landers. But even if just one of them is ready, that would be enough, and they would still be able to accomplish their goals and proceed with an actual lunar landing on Artemis 4, if the landers are ready. If you guys want to get into the weeds of that, we can.
SpaceX classically misses deadlines, right? Like they are known for not.
And
hitting
even
that
though their
line.
human landing system is going to be a completely different variant of Starship, they do have to their advantage that they've already successfully completed several water splashdowns of Starship and been able to have pinpoint controlled landings with the early developments of that vehicle. So there, as far as I know, unless this is something that Blue Origin has done in secret in the Washington State somewhere or elsewhere, I don't think that they've done any controlled propulsion testing or landings with either of their versions of their lunar landers. So in that regard, even though it's a different vehicle, SpaceX is kind of ahead on, in my mind, the most important part.
No, Blue Origin had a pinpoint landing with New Glenn on the first try, and they've been doing.
But have they done anything? But have they done any pinpoint landings with their Blue Moon? Have they had any tethered tests or anything like that yet? It doesn't seem like they're integrated to that point yet.
All of that is translatable to other vehicles. The reason their new Shepard, the reason their New Glenn landed with pinpoint accuracy is because they've been doing it with New Shepard. They just translated that to a different vehicle. It's not that's oversimplification, but like they have a long history of doing that. I don't see that that's a downside. To me, the downside is that
I'll give you the point, but like I was like. But
it's you're not wrong. They have a better area to start from, but yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I think this is a moot point. Artemis 3, because we're talking specifically about Artemis 3. They're not landing on the moon. They're not landing on water. They're docking in low Earth orbit, and then we're throwing it away, right? So who cares about pinpoint landing? That is not in the milestones.
And also, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the version of Starship that's flying now is absolutely not the version of Starship that's flying to the moon. Like, there are differences between that. The version
Very
of
much
Starship
so,
that's
yeah.
being tested right now is essentially a cargo carrier, while the human landing system Starship doesn't do things like atmospheric entry or other things like that. And that's a different vehicle. So
what has SpaceX done for human factors for Starship?
Good point. You got me there.
so this is
I don't know anything.
pointing to Ryan and asking, is that publicly known? So
right. This is something I've seen on my X feed is, everyone is really riled up on Artemis II and super excited. And then there was like this hate cloud of people saying, Blue Origin released a picture of Blue Moon Mark 1 with I think Jeff Bezos is, hey, there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, credit is Jeff Bezos because I only found this on his Instagram feed. I did not find this on the Blue Origin stuff. The beautiful irony, right?
Well, when you bought it, you get to take the photo with it.
I guess so. I'm giving credit to Jeff Bezos because it's his money, it's his thing, and it wasn't on Blue's feed, so whatever.
Is that cleared for ITAR?
It was on his feed, so I'm gonna say yes. I wasn't the one who released it. They're showing pictures of a fairly complete Mark 1, which by the way is not the one that they're sending to the moon. They're going straight to Mark 2 for the moon, which is a different vehicle. So okay, cool. And I don't think that's the one that they're using in 2027 either. I think they're sending Mark 1 up first, and then they're going to build Mark 2 for the 2027 stuff. So that schedule is a little bit yanky. But
that raises a...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that raises a really interesting point, though, because you say that that's not the one that they're going to be using, but, to be truthful, we don't know what version they're going to be using because there are so many rumors around Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 1.5, some kind of mush together of the two to try and speed up the process. And then there's talks of SpaceX kind of expediting their process as well. And NASA says that both Blue and SpaceX have provided them with an acceleration timeline, but they haven't actually gone into any detail of what that acceleration timeline is. So right now, it's incredibly difficult to say what they will actually be flying on Artemis 3 because we simply don't know what they're going to be flying on Artemis 3. There isn't a mission profile with the only vehicle we know for certain that is flying on Artemis 3 is the Orion spacecraft. Everything else right now is still up in the air because we don't know what type of Starship it's going to be. We don't know what type of Blue Moon it's going to be. Is it going to be Blue Moon Mark 1 with the docking port? Is it going to be Blue Moon Mark 2? Is it going to be a combination of the both? No, nobody knows. We just don't know at this point. It is meant to be happening next year.
But I would say, at least for Blue's benefit, that at least they're building something, even if that's not the one, and maybe building something else. But Starship hasn't even, SpaceX hasn't even published or people, the rivet counters in Boca Chica haven't found whatever SpaceX is offering is going to be.
Yep.
What if Elon said when he did his BFR presentation that he was basically going to do the Walt Disney's Main Street model and let private industry take care of putting in the pizza parlor and the habitation and the bathrooms. All right, cool. So you ain't going to worry about it. That's clear now. Who's doing that? Vast?
Come to me. Blue, this is a message for Blue Origin. Dear Blue Origin, we've spent the entire first part of this show talking about how creating human connections with people excited everyone and rallied everyone, the whole human race, behind NASA. You're doing an old school method of media and marketing, and it does not work in a modern architecture. Listen to me, Blue, please. I'm Blue. Listen, be open with us. We want to be excited about what you're doing. We want to get behind you. Just be human with us. We would love what you're doing. You're doing exciting stuff. Come here, Blue. Please be human with us. Thank you. That's my story. That's my plea to Blue Origin. I know they've got great engineers. I know they've got great hardware. I know they can get us excited about what they're doing. And I think getting people excited means that politicians will then fund those programs because their constituents are excited and they understand why they want to do this, which means money will flow. And that's the thing you need to make it go. And I know Daddy Bezos pays for everything for now, but I'm sure he does not want to pay until the end of time. So Blue, please, please be human with us.
If you build it, they will come.
That's my rant. Thank you.
Best case scenario, if they do have both the landers ready, I would love to see some sort of like NASA's version of MTV Cribs and them having a very human tour of, here's where, we're going to do all this stuff. Here's where we're going to store our experiments. Here's where I'm going to bring the rims that I'm going to put on the lunar car that's already been delivered to the surface that I'm going to drive when we get there on Artemis 4 or 5. Make it human and, get us excited about, we're not going to the moon today on this mission, but when we do, just look at what cool, awesome places we're going to be able to spend that mission on and some of the cool things that we do. There's a great opportunity to do a whole bunch of Apollo applications type experiments. I mean, even stuff that we've already done. If they throw in a manned maneuvering unit and let somebody do an untethered float around the combined docking of Orion and whichever lunar lander is available to do these exercises with, that would be such epic footage. That would capture the generation, even for a donkey, not donkey, but you know what I mean. For what shouldn't be a very big publicity moment, there could still be those types of moments generated from something if there's enough extra stuff to it. So I'm really hoping that it's not just testing out the space suits. It's not just testing out the docking. It's doing as many extra things as they possibly can and make the most of it and show that, yes, we're skipping the wet dress rehearsal and some other things that safety experts say that we need before we land on the moon. But here we are showing that we are capable, we are confident, and when we do go there next year, we're confident that we're going to be successful with every phase of the mission. And that's what I would love to see out of Artemis III.
I appreciate you so much because you just teed up my next question brilliantly. We've got Artemis III that's going to do docking operations on orbit in low Earth orbit, right? So we're doing that here at Earth. Artemis IV, YOLO, straight to the moon. We're sending humans to the moon and we're landing. What steps are we missing in between Artemis III and Artemis IV to have great success and maintain timeline for Artemis 4, which, by the way, is only 2028, 2 years away? Ryan, we'll throw that to you.
Well, we're going to have numerous uncrewed landings of the human landing systems. That the entire point of the HLS is that they are autonomous, so they're going to be able to land by themselves. So essentially, they're going to be doing Apollo 10, without the human in the loop. So technically, I'd argue that's Apollo 10 plus, like Apollo 10 even better than Apollo 10, because it's less dangerous because you're not putting the people inside and you're actually landing, meaning you're going to be getting that data as well. So I think we're going to see multiple of these landing attempts. Hopefully most of them are successful. Technically, Blue Origin are already going to be working towards those landing attempts this year with the Blue Moon Mark 1. That is just come out of thermal vacuum testing at Johnson. So even though the Mark 2 is an evolution, again, we don't actually know which version of the lander is going to be used. So Mark 1, regardless, is going to be heading towards that. Starship, they still haven't sent it to orbit. So when are they going to be doing any sort of lunar landing testing? Nobody knows. I'd love to tell you more and be more excited about Starship landing on the moon sometime soon, but I just can't see it. So we need these autonomous landings sometime this year and next year, and that's the steps towards Artemis 4. I think Blue has a great chance of doing them. I'm not sure about Starship, I have to be honest.
What a weird and backwards, upsy-turvy world we live in today, where we're like, no, I think Blue has a better chance of making timeline than SpaceX. Go back 1 year. 1 year. Would you have said that same thing a year ago?
Nope.
What a weird
Maybe
world.
not a year ago, probably 6 months ago though, because SpaceX essentially spaffed off the entire year of 2025 doing loop-de-loops over the skies of Texas and blowing up upon re-entry, right? With the V2 program of Starship. Like, it's taken them a minute to get here, and version 3, it has to work. They've already blown up a booster, right? They have to be on their A game at this point. They can't just blow stuff up for fun anymore.
They've blown up their ground support. They've blown up their pad.
I understand that it's a hardware-rich program, but it gets to a point. Like, how hardware-rich do you want to be? Because you've flown 12 flights at this point, 11 flights at this point, and what have you got to show for it? An untested piece of hardware.
Maybe.
How many?
I don't bet against SpaceX.
How many flights of Falcon 9 did they test before they were able to land it correctly?
20.
Well, hold up. Are we talking about launch or landing?
I mean,
right?
accomplishing a specific target. They've gotten it into space, not orbit, but they've gotten it into space. Their test regime hasn't included orbit yet, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you are technically correct. They could, if they had just changed the way that orbit works, they had the energy to make orbit. They purposely didn't want to do that because in case something went wrong, they wanted it to tumble back down. So
right. So I don't question their ability to go up.
Right.
I question their ability to translate their down part from the little single booster to the big giant massive booster.
Which ultimately is not required for HLS, right? At least not for these testing in 2027. We're okay, 2028, different thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of touching on this in my X feed. I'm getting so many people saying, "Oh, SpaceX has nothing." I mean, they have an entire mock-up on display of the HLS system where you can see where all the components go inside. You can see what the Eclipse is going to kind of look like. Like that stuff takes time, and they've got like actual built bent metal examples. Now, that's not a flight-worthy example, fair enough, but like there's a good chunk of stuff that you got to get done to get to that stage, let alone the mock-ups and testing done in Hawthorne and everything else that you're not seeing. The gripe is they're not sending out photos, right? You can't see their progress. And I think one of the issues with a lot of these systems is there's not a lot to show until like the 11th hour. Right? Like they're individual components and they all kind of come together at the very, very end to make the vehicle. And so there may not be a whole lot to show realistically. And I know that feels weird, but like.
Have they tested a pressure vessel?
I mean,
the thought just occurred to me that they would most likely want to build the human landing system in Florida as close as the launch pad as possible. And we know that there is that gigabay that's being built there. So how far along are they in being able to produce boosters and starships from Florida? Because that's probably the key as to when we'll see a human landing system.
Negative.
Otherwise, they have to figure out some sort of barge shipments, stuff, which isn't impossible. They can figure that out. They have assets to do that already. But I don't know. Just that thought occurred to me. If it would make the most sense for a human landing system and future missions, once that's up and operational, to build them right there in Florida. Right?
I mean,
as far as I know,
they're 5+ years away from being able to build anything. Like, they need a star factory in Florida to be able to do that. And they haven't even started clearing the ground for a star factory. The primary purpose of the gigabay that they are building right now in Florida is a storage facility, a glorified storage facility. They're going to barge in the starships and the boosters from Starbase that they build in the Starbase Gigafactory. If they don't send them straight to a launch pad at 39A or Space Launch Complex 37, they're going to get shipped and rolled out to the Gigabay, where they'll just be there for storage and refurbishment when they start catching them in Florida.
Victim of Elon time again. I was thinking they were further along with those ambitions. My bad.
But I mean,
I just want to say that
like you said,
I don't feel like having a mock-up is kind of an indicator of where you're at. So, like, I have a mock-up. So
no, I think my point isn't that the mock-up means that they're ready to go. My point is that they're far enough along where they have mock-ups where They're like they're
Okay.
putting things in place to be like, does this actually work in a real 3D environment as opposed to just working on paper? And as much as everyone says SpaceX is a hardware-rich engineering company, and they are, like once they decide to bend metal and actually build
That's,
mock-ups and make sure that things go together, you know they're fairly far along.
that's still paper dolls, though. That's just concept phase.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. Do they have pressure? Do they have pressure vessels? Yeah, I mean every starship that they build,
Yeah.
right?
For
You-
for
I mean,
shuttle, it was 9 years from mock up to first flight, and
That's different.
for Orion,
Nope.
it was a decade.
That's-
But we're moving faster here, so
That's a lot different, though. The mock-up
Yes.
that they built for Shuttle and Downey was to get funding to actually make, like, to get the contract.
yes, I'm conceding that is that it's in. I was also going to mention Orion, but also a little bit different as well. So yes, where these mock-ups we're seeing are certainly more advanced than what was used. During
Well, my
Shuttle
my,
and the
my
early
argument
Orion
is
program, I think,
SpaceX doesn't
so.
need to convince anybody to spend the money.
Oh yes,
They have
There
the
is
money to
that.
spend. They could have been doing this 10 years ago. Why didn't they?
I'm going to disagree with this assessment, and I know Ryan may take issue with it. If the human landing services was ready, NASA spaceflight would have picked it up. They have cameras everywhere. They do not. They do not have cameras inside of Star Factory. And while they can look inside of some of the doors, the factory is very, very deep, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happening inside of there that NASA spaceflight does not have insight into.
They don't
So,
even know
like-
about the basement.
Yeah, they don't
I'm
even
just
know
kidding.
about the
I'm just kidding.
basement. The alien
I'm just
spaceships they have never shown on camera.
Yeah. I mean, if you go look at the live tracking page over with our friends at Starbase Tracking, like you see the front, like they have the entire Star Factory laid out like this. They have the front windows with the nose cones we can see, and then beyond that, it's just like maybe there's hardware here? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Like we literally cannot see. Like I am begging SpaceX, please already have HLS hardware in the back corner of the Star Factory in an office somewhere where we can't see it. But until they show us something, like Blue Origin is doing, how are we meant to believe you're actually working on anything?
And I obviously can't go into details, and because whatever, but I will say that there's hardware from one wall all the way down the factory to the other wall in all directions. It is not just nose cones lined up against a window and another 1 million square feet of empty factory floor. There is hardware everywhere. And the other note is HLS is not that different from V3 Starship. It is different. It is different. But we were talking, Duta, you're talking about pressure
It's in the
vessel.
same
Yeah,
family. It's a very close in the same family.
exactly. So I think they are both further along than people are giving them credit for, while also somehow behind Blue Origin at the same time, which is the weirdest. It's the
But, like,
weirdest thing.
Where's the video that they produce where they blow up a pressure vessel at 11.5 times what it's supposed to be?
You generally don't see that from SpaceX, though.
Oh yes, you do. They blew up a
No,
big
not-
giant composite tank just for the grins.
Oh,
And
sure.
produced
You'll
it
see.
and
Okay,
put out a
hang on.
video.
Once in a hang on. Once in a blue moon, when they're doing a big marketing push for something, you'll see it. But like we're talking about hardware-rich program and how we haven't seen stuff. That's because everything happens in McGregor, frankly. And like, yeah, NASA Spaceflight has some cameras there, but like that's where they've blown up so many tanks that you haven't seen. So many tanks that you haven't seen. Like, and it all happens in McGregor.
They have the big scaffolding thing, which they've covered in tarp. Very inconsiderate of them why they covered it in tarp. I have no idea. Let us see inside the big scaffolding thing. We want to know what's inside of the big scaffolding thing. Why have you covered it in tarp?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you're not going to see. SpaceX is very forward with a lot of their stuff, but you do not see every tank that they've ruptured, even in the Falcon 9 program. Like, how many Falcon 9 boosters can you remember them releasing as tank where the booster unzipped? Can you name one that they released?
Not that I'm aware of.
They did it many times. And that's just how about the Crusher when they're purposely trying to crush the rocket? Did you see any of that footage? Yeah, there's so much stuff that's happening behind the scenes where they go through and they grab the big cool moments, but they just don't release absolutely everything because it's just so much stuff. You can't. And so going, oh, well, I haven't seen the pressure vessel. Cool. All right. Yeah, you haven't. You also didn't see it happen for Falcon 9 either. So what's the difference? I don't know. Are they really, really far along? I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I can say my drawings got released before I left the company. So I was really far along. And so I can base it on where I was. And so I think I do still think Blue is going to beat them, which is mind-boggling. But never bet against SpaceX. Truly, never bet against SpaceX.
It would be such a good thing for both of them if in either of those scenarios. Even if Blue Origin does beat SpaceX and succeeds, that's going to light a fire under SpaceX, and they're going to push even harder, and we might be able to have 2 successful vehicles that we can start doing even more operations with, and even beyond what they have planned. So I think we're all in agreement. We want to see both of them succeed, right?
On me,
absolutely.
on me.
Yes.
On me, SpaceX. SpaceX. We want to
Cody Duta, give him his moment. Give him his moment.
No, you get the idea. Hey, we want to get excited. Whatever. We want to get excited. We want to see what you're doing. We show us what you're doing. Show us what you're executing in order to be able to get us excited about taking humans to the moon.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Here's hoping they'll give us a teaser on the next test flight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe that's a show. Is SpaceX becoming less transparent? I feel like maybe yes.
100% yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never ever thought we would have this conversation arguing whether or not SpaceX is more or less secretive than Blue Origin. That is wild.
They sure are reaching those levels.
They did this. Wait, what am I trying to say? They did that. Blue went this way and SpaceX went this way, or it's reversed. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they have. I think we have gotten to the point where they have crossed paths. They're both
here
going
we are
this way.
stuck in the middle,
this.
not knowing anything.
They've crossed paths and they're both going downhill.
Maybe my rant should have been directed directly at SpaceX, right? Like if Blue is opening up and becoming human and like showing us stuff, then like cool, I'm great, love it. Like, and it takes time to do that, and you got to be careful. I get it. There's ITAR, there's EAR, there's export compliance. It's a whole big thing.
Blue's efforts to be human are them trying to be human, so they're not quite there yet. But I think
they are human data.
There's a bit of a shift. Most of them are. There's a bit of a shift with SpaceX's media, where they were initially putting out kind of NASA level transparency videos, and with their occupation of Brownsville and the fact that there's public lands directly on the other side and like within 500 feet of their open bay doors and people mounting cameras there, that it seems like maybe they think that satiates the curiosity enough that they don't have to spend time and effort rallying people around their cause.
I feel like we'll kind of close on this comment. It's from Mercy Bear. It says, wouldn't Isaacman know the approximate timeline for both Blue and SpaceX? I mean,
good.
You're only as good as your data in, right? Like, if he's getting bad data from SpaceX, but like again, SpaceX classically bad at timelines. They always accomplish their goals.
Historically
just
bad. Just
not anywhere when they said they were going to.
They love deadlines, and they love the whooshing sound they make as they go past.
Yeah.
So.
All right, that's our show. Maybe After Dark. Maybe in After Dark we talk a little bit about Blue versus SpaceX transparency, or I don't know if there's much more to say other than they've done this. I am
maybe
curious.
As a little teaser, something I want to talk about is maybe there's some secret third options that we haven't discussed at all that we could theorize about in After Dark.
Ooh, I love that.
I know exactly what the third option is. You know, they already have a Saturn V that's horizontal at the Kennedy Space Center.
Save it for After Dark. Save it for After
Dark. The Saturn V Center, stack it in the VAB, send it to 39B. Bob's your uncle. You got a moon rocket ready to go. Why are we faffing around with all of this commercial nonsense?
It's fine. There's one rusted out. It's fine.
There's one in Houston, and then there's one in Alabama, in Huntsville.
We've got
do it
3 of them ready
twice.
to go. Bang, bang, bang. Let's go do Apollo 9, 10, and 11 right now.
Ryan, let's close this thing
Perfect.
out with another trivia question. Let's and Zach, get me the right answer in my DMs, please, please.
No
Oh
cheating.
my goodness.
We've got another brilliant one here.
I'm just getting DMs. I'm not cheating.
Still cheating. Okay, according to flight director Rick Hentfling, what was the maximum speed reached by Orion Integrity on its flight of Artemis II? Was it 24,664 miles an hour, 25,786 miles an hour, 23,176 miles an hour, or 21,475 miles an hour?
I have my answer.
What was the record?
It
The record
didn't beat
is
the record.
The record is Apollo 10.
Yep.
And
which is
how fast
what
was
I will
that?
say.
The Apollo 10 record is a number.
Which is
A number which I'm not going to divulge because it will give you, because it's cheating, it will give you a pointer because you'll know it's less than the number that's on the screen.
Can we get that number
Thank
in speed of light, please?
I will tell
How many
you,
C-
okay,
what
because these are in
fraction of
miles an
C is
hour,
it?
I will give you the Apollo 10 maximum speed in feet per second. The Apollo 10 record is 36,397 feet per second, if that is of any help. You're welcome. Chat room has
That's
voted
fast.
for B, which is 25786. Okay, I'm not going to go to Jamie first because she cheated. Duster, I'm going to start with you.
I'm gonna go for 24664. I suspect you're probably putting 25786 as Apollo 10's record in there, and they didn't beat that.
Mike?
I'm going for A. I can't quite remember, but that sounds about right. 24,000.
Jared?
I'm going for A as well. And oh man, they were so close to beating Apollo 10. Just barely missed it.
Jamie?
11,025 meters per second.
That's not an answer, so that's null and
Yeah,
void.
that is-
No points for you.
That is 24,664 miles per hour. That is an answer, and meters per second is the only answer and the correct answer.
The correct answer is indeed A, 24,664 miles an hour. So for once, all of the hosts got it correct. The chat room double 0 points on today's show, and they didn't beat the Apollo 10 record because the Apollo 10 record is 24,816 miles an hour. They were literally, like 150 miles an hour short of breaking the record.
Ah,
Ugh.
Wow.
suck it, chat.
Hey. Don't treat chat that way.
All right, everyone. That's our show. I did want to say for this coming week, I have 2 interviews in the can for the Project Tomorrow Presents, but I wasn't super happy with where they ended up. And rather than releasing things just for the sake of releasing them, I'm going to hold on to them until we can make them better, which means there will be no new release this week for the crew of tomorrow. However, this coming Wednesday, we do have the Jeff Grayson interview that'll be going live to absolutely everyone. Here's a quick preview.
I grew up in the immediate post-Apollo aftermath. I'm just a little bit too young to have seen the Apollo landings. Grew up, reading science fiction and watching Star Trek, and I always knew I wanted to be involved in space, but I didn't think I was going to have to work on how to get there. That looked like a problem other people were solving. So I was programming computers when you program them with switches instead of with typing in on a keyboard or no keyboards. Went off and went to Caltech, and that was a great school for me. Feynman was still teaching a little special course for freshmen and sophomores that I got to sit in on. That was cool. Realized then that no matter how much money NASA did or didn't get, it was never getting me into space, or people like me, So I kind of gave up. You can't Me Too your way ahead of SpaceX, and betting that you're going to get there because SpaceX is going to make some catastrophic business error. That's not a winning bet so far. What could you do that would make SpaceX obsolete? Not do what they're doing, only better, because you're not going to do what they're doing, only better. And even if you are height of hubris, even if you are smarter and better than they exist and they're entrenched in the market. I don't share Elon's vision that we're going to get 1 million people to Mars with chemical rockets. And it's not a thing that takes $1 billion to make. You know, it's a box with some coils on it. Light it up, and 3 weeks later, you pass Jupiter.
We were talking about going to Mars in 9-ish months, and now you're talking about going all the way to Jupiter in weeks.
Yes.
That was the most fun I've had doing an interview in a really long time. And this Wednesday, it will be available to absolutely everyone. It's called 3 Weeks to Jupiter. It's Jeff Grayson, and it's like just over 2 hours long. It's an incredible way to start off our Project Tomorrow Presents series. And we'll continue to bring on amazing guests over time. And you as the crew of Tomorrow will get early access to all of these by a full week. So if you're currently a crew member, you actually can go in and watch the entire 2-hour long interview right now. You also, as you see right here, get your name in the show and a bunch of other really cool perks. And as a reminder for anyone who was subscribed on Patreon before, we are reactivating our Patreon account May 1st, and it's going to be moving to monthly to match what we do on YouTube. So if you don't want to contribute on Google's platform and you prefer to do it on Patreon, you can absolutely do that. And of course, everyone gets access to After Dark. We've got a bunch of topics that we're going to come up. Oh, we have 4 different topics. It looks like we'll see how many of those we get to. Also, for some reason, the AI logo didn't come up here. Is it olives and olive oil? Like what are those olives? That's not a martini. And
That's clearly corn syrup.
That hand was looking quite suspect as well.
Did you see the cigar isn't actually in the cigar thing? It's like leaning over the cigar tray, so all the ashes are dropping on the table. Oh, man. So I try to mark everything that we use AI with on the show. Because the thing is, look, AI is going to be a part of our future, whether you like it or not. The thing is, it's going to be humans creating the AI. And we don't use AI for us, for our voices or anything like that, but we do use it for supplemental material. And my thing is, we're just going to mark it and make sure that you know that, hey, this isn't real, this is AI. For some reason, I missed the AI mark on that.
Well, there's no AI mark, so it has to be a real video. Like, that is actually a real video which was actually captured.
Are you saying that you've never had a night out where you're drinking things that are quite suspect and you miss the ashtray from time to time?
Actually, no, I'm not saying that. I think that is real.
That's usually how it goes.
Zach, by chance, do we have a new leaderboard? Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, we're sharing it on Discord. That's a clever way to do it. So we've got what do we have? We've got Jared. No, the chat room's still in the lead. I'm not sure they're cheating anymore, or either they're not. So I think what they're doing is they're trying to fool me and throw me off the scent by failing some questions, right? And then once I'm like, oh no, they're not cheating, they'll start cheating again, right? So I don't know. Chat room, you're sus. You're very, very sus.
Well, I'm finding that the chat room only cheats when it's in metric. They're not cheating when it's in imperial. So maybe we found the key here to make the chat room stop cheating. Maybe we need to do it in hocus pocus units, and then the chat room won't actually know what the real answer is, so they can't cheat.
I feel like that's just hubris.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you all.
Truth, justice, and the American way.
Let's see if I can hit the buttons. Thank you all so much for watching. That's our show. There is no show next week. Is it next week? Yeah, there's no show next week and possibly the week after, as I will be traveling and unfortunately very, very heads down with my day job and making those things go. So we're off the air at minimum 1 week, possibly 2. But I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you in a bit.
Happy birthday, Dave, and thank you. I like how the delay is causing everybody to be offbeat and nobody's together.
I know.
We know. That's what makes it so special. We sound
That's
so
the point.
We.